Josh Sargent, the young American forward who's playing in the English Championship. Is he going to stay there or find his way and make his name in the EPL like the likes of Clint Dempsey? Or is he going to fizzle out and be another almost superstar? Let's size it up and make a technical assessment of the young forward. So considering stats for 2022-2023, as Mr. Sargent had been out for a while in the 2023-2024 season, you're going to see that he scores a lot more goals. Also going to see that he only comes second to Newcastle's Alexander Isak in terms of shots on target with a very high accuracy. And the stats are also going to show you that he makes a lot of shots and his tendency is trying to bear down on goal more as compared to João Pedro now with Brighton or Leon Bailey's Aston Villa was on fire at the moment this season. An argument could be made for the quality of opposition he faces, but I still think he can hold his own in the EPL. Even in his teams you could see his athleticism and his talent and his knack. See him in the Championship now. Similar strike off his right, directs it home. The eye test will clearly show that he's got a lot more power. Like when he uses his right though, he's able to use both his feet. Here he arrives at the attack, picks his plot, benefits off a deflection again. So like I mentioned before, here you see him in this clip going more for precision off his left. Clearly you can see that there's less power going into it, it's more about placement. Here in the Championship you can see him again arrive in a blind spot, pick his spot and convert. Here, under pressure, didn't work out, it's off his left, but again you can see the element of trying to go for placement.
Too far ahead of him, the Watford player has gone down, Cookie's taken the ball, plays it across, and it's gone in from Josh Sargent!
Guys, do please spare a moment to subscribe to the channel, like the video, it helps us grow, we really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks a lot, I'm sure you have one more subscriber, if not, hopefully next time. Now, getting back to the video. Let's take a look at Mr. Sargent's open play assists. So in terms of assists, you're going to see that Josh's numbers are very low. I think that Isak is the only one who has low assist numbers. And if you actually look, he's got more game time, he's played more, but he hasn't assisted as much. He tends to be more of the guy who's scoring than assisting. That's from the statistical perspective. In the 2023 campaign, you're going to see that he actually only made 2 assists, having played like an average of 5 more games than any of the other strikers compared in this frame. But then that's the statistical side of things. From the eye test, you're going to see even in his time in German football, he makes a spirited effort, he runs at the defense, actually draws markers and sets up his teammates for great opportunities, sitters at times. There's those little dinks. He puts teammates in the forward line in positions to convert. I think watching games and watching these snippets actually shows you that some of the conversion or the poor stats he has for assists, it's not for a lack of trying, but a lack of clinical play on the part of the offensive line that will be put in those positions to convert. With that actually said, I believe if you pay Sargent up with a more clinical striker, a more natural partner at number 9, you actually have more conversions. And I can't wait to see him maybe transfer or even get promoted to Norwich and have them make acquisitions of more clinical strikers and see that aspect of his game come to the fore. So the next aspect of his game to look at is his aerial ability. So Josh is a relatively big guy, he stands tall and he's got a physical presence. No wonder his numbers are right up there with the likes of Pedro. Top flight strikers like Bailey and Solanke actually find their numbers being inferior. I think the eye test is going to show a lot more when we take a look at the aspect of his game, but I can summarize it for you in simple. He's going to be challenging for the balls. Anyway, he's in the pitch, whether it's in defensive capacities in the middle of the park, trying to use his head to get a better touch for better ball control, or even make attempts at scoring, heading and finding the back of the net. So as you're going to see in the first clip, you have him there providing an assist, progressing the ball forward. I think he actually has a lot of progressive touches, ironically, in this capacity. There, a rare time you find him in his own penalty box helping out the defense. But most of his touches of the ball are going to be at the center of the park, where you see him challenging for the ball. Like the significance of his height, you're going to see that, yeah, he just jump like when he comes up against other bigger defenders, but most of the time he depends on just being static, making a little leap and challenging for the ball. I think his technique here could improve. He could be a lot less sluggish and more active in trying to secure up the ball, but his outcomes are pretty decent. A bit more work, I think he could be winning just about 60% of his aerial duels. Next up, I think we have to be looking at his crossing aspect coming off that right wing. Okay, so clearly when we're looking at the stats, this aspect of Josh's game is way below some of the top strikers in the Premiership. You're going to see that his numbers are a lot lower than Pedro's, a lot lower than Bailey's. Only Isak has less crosses, and that's with him being a traditional number 9. Also, Solanke playing that very pivotal, straightforward role. Sargent's role typically has also been the same, though the eye test is going to point out that sometimes he does find himself in positions where he's far out wide and he's attempting to bring in those crosses from the right. So in terms of his technical execution, you can see that he's able to place and have some form of accuracy on picking out teammates. He gives the ball elevation, he has that vision, looks up, biomechanics of it. They're clean, decent enough. Also, when he comes through, he can make those crosses which don't have that much elevation. You can clearly see that Sargent puts in a lot more effort, and when it comes off properly, like we say, in terms of assists from this, he should actually get more. I think he's yet to hit the stride he was when he was playing in German football in the Championship, though, in this aspect of his game. Next, we want to take a look at how well he links up in his offensive role with the team. So here our key considerations are passing and distance covered. You can see that Josh's numbers are pretty good, only second to Pedro's in terms of the number of passes completed or attempted. The accuracy is actually just second to Isak, but in terms of volume, he's way better. Of his preferred passing mode, you can see that he's more of a short to medium passer of the ball. His long passing is very scant to come about, and you can also see that he progresses with the ball very well. He's only second to Pedro. You see him moving, running in from deep from the most part, and the eye test, I believe, validates the statistics here. So you're going to find that Sargent actually drops down a lot into the midfield to pick up the ball, almost like a false 9 or in an anchorman role. He's got that ability to hold the ball and actually make those little deft touches here and there. We're going to take a look at his game in terms of his play in the final attacking third. So most of the time you're going to find him not in the central but more on the right, coming in, trying to cut in and making that architectural pass that comes up. Not usually the final killer pass, but something that's critical to the build-up itself. He draws in defenders, makes sure he's making a nuisance of himself, and occasionally you have that maybe pass before the assist. So mostly it's drawing defenders in the half spaces, 1 or 2 touches, not too fancy dribbling. Here and there, that little intelligent, simple tap pass that creates situations there in the penalty area. I think as you can see, if we're going to go back to the stats, you're going to see that he does tend to be able to progress the ball a bit more, and that's why he tends to have such good numbers for ball progression, distance covered. He does run. He's not a super fast type of striker, light on his feet. No, he's heavier, slightly heavier, but he still has a considerable amount of pace on him, and youth he does have. There's that endurance that you really require him forward. And right now in his early 20s, you could say that he's at the peak of his powers, and coming off an injury, I believe given time he still hit those high levels. So if I have any critique of him, like when you've seen the footage here and if you've seen Sargent play outside any other times, you're going to see that sometimes his decision making is a bit poor. He's going to hang on the ball slightly a bit too long, and sometimes he'll hang on to the ball and then makes the wrong pass, actually leaves opportunity for people in better positions. Sometimes he's going to have that touch which is a bit odd in a threatening position, which actually turns over the ball to the opponent. All in all, I'd still pick Sargent. These are kinks I think he can iron out over time.
Sargent, the game is starting to open up in the closing stages. He's quick, this boy. Sargent Can he get past Michael Keane? Keane holds him back. Referee trying to play an advantage. Then he pulls him down.
So the eye test is going to be in sync with the stats. Sargent is right up there with the likes of Pedro and Isak in terms of his take-on numbers, the number of touches he actually has on the ball, and the number of touches he has right up there in the attacking third. He's only second to Pedro in this capacity. And the other maybe drawback is, like we said, he takes a lot of time on the ball, so he gets tackled a lot more. And so you see that he has a higher stat of loss of the ball when he's being tackled. His ball carrying capacity is right up there with the best strikers in the EPL, and even his receiving of the ball holding is decent. I think he should get a shot at more time in the EPL. So the eye test here, you can see even at national level, Josh is very confident on the ball and he's going to be dribbling. Not like Samba style, but he's going to be doing the very basics there, stepping over the ball, shielding it, doing that little turn there, seeing him and setting up teammates. He's very comfortable. In particular when he's in the final attacking third, and he usually couples that little switch up of play with trying to set teammates up, trying to find that little assist. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like now you can see that having put on more years, like if you see in this clip, he actually uses his body a lot more, shields it, stands it ground, does a little dribble and doesn't lose possession. Unlike in the opening clip, he's become very physical over the years, and that's, I believe, as he's grown and he's more or less grown into his body and can command a physical presence. He has that ability to shrug off challenges, to make the ball his and defend and switch it up with a bit of turn of pace whilst not getting knocked off the ball at the same time. So from the stats, what we can mostly glean is his progressive interaction with the ball from defensive to defensive third, middle third, attacking third. He has a lot more touches. He seems to progress a lot more in terms of how much he sees the ball. And in terms of receiving and how he progresses, the proportion to that is very... He's also only second to Pedro in terms of actual passes received. He actually surpasses everyone else. Even his progressive passes received are the highest at 218, which actually, I believe, speaks to his ability to receive the ball under pressure and maintain it as he attacks the opposition or helps in the build-up to threatening the opponent's goal. For the purpose also in OpenPlay, where we've seen him do those chest takedowns, little passes, high pressure situations, comes up, does a similar takedown. Actually, it's sufficing as a pass on its own. So Josh doesn't really stack up against the likes of Thierry Henry, but in terms of his shielding game, he does hold his own. He's a decently built man, and over the years, he's actually bulked up a bit. But pace is different. He's a bit slower. He comes up with the US men's team, defends the ball well, runs into spaces, and is able to make use of his body. Even in situations where he helps out with the mid, you trust that he'll be able to put his body there, and whenever his body checked, when he goes down, is likely to draw a foul because he's a big lad. He's not a diver. Generally, visually looking at him, a lot of physicality is expected from him, and hence you don't get free kicks or penalties easily given. He's expected to fight for it, and he does fight for it. Watching him come into the midfield, like in this clip, I get vibes of Walt Weghorst, the Man U loanee at a time, a steady striker who can come in and boss the midfield and give you that grip whenever you lose the ball high up the pitch. So in terms of his defensive contributions, like we've already seen, I'm going to build off the fact that you've seen him in midfield where there is a need. He provides that extra grip, helping out if ever there's any deficiency, say in physicality. Right, that comes up in his stats. You're going to see that he commits quite a lot of fouls, higher than everyone else, almost close to Pedro. They've more or less the same physical presence, as well as Solanke there. He's got the second highest recovery rate there and also wins a lot of tackles in that group. His accuracy is also to note. He's got the most recovery, most tackles, but the least number of yellow cards. So when you're going to be doing the eye test, you're going to see the level of commitment he has, tracking back from offensive to come back, pressure, not make a tackle, but pressure on the opponent. There, you see he concedes a lot of tackles too, considering that he pressures for the ball and is contending for it. Big lad. There you see him. Clean tackle. Stats a tally. They're transitioning out of a defensive position. Gets the foul. There again you see him challenging for the ball. Two opponents. Goes up. Gets a clean tackle in. Recovers the ball. Having recently done a video on Pulisic, you can clearly see that the difference is in the attacking third. He does a lot more recoveries and he has the physical presence ahead of the American captain. I think when you partner them and they play together, that would play into the hands of the US men's team. In closing, I'm going to be highlighting his work ethic, which is what I like the most about him. A reflection of his humility and his contribution to team effort. The forward will constantly drop down and lend an assisting hand to either the CDM or if the even deeper lying lines of defense. So here's the verdict on our assessment, guys. I think Josh qualifies to be playing in the EPL, deserves a promotion, and actually challenging maybe there in the Europa levels. He's yet to prove himself. The Champions League, I believe, give him 2 or 3 seasons. We'll then have a conversation to see does he qualify to be rated as Champions League material. Definitely qualifies to be in the US men's team, but like in the World Cup 2022, probably coming off the bench a lot more up until he really finds his stride. So from us at Nuance Sports, guys, please like, share and subscribe. Till the next one.